Alabama just passed a bill that completely bans abortion after 6 weeks in the entire state, with the exception of if it's necessary to prevent a serious health risk to the unborn's mother. First of all, did you know you can read bills? Because I didn't. I just Googled where can I read the Alabama abortion bill, and it showed up. The whole bill, minus all the partisan misinformation, grandstanding, and crying on either side. Read the bill for yourself. Don't just take my word for it, and especially don't take anybody on Twitter's word for it. So first, let's talk about what the bill actually does. Seems like facts are a good baseline for any discussion. Let's start with them. The bill makes abortion and attempted abortion felony offenses of differing classes, and specifically includes language that classifies unborn children as people, whereby the killing of them constitutes murder, and murder being a Class A felony means the doctor who performed the abortion, not the women who were operated on. It specifically says the women would not be held criminally liable, but the doctor who performed the abortion and thus committed the newly designated murder would receive a Class A felony punishment, which could be anywhere from 10 years to life in prison. So in case you've been seeing the 99 years figure floating around, know that that's simply the maximum possible punishment for a Class A felony, and not a guaranteed sentence every time. For the record, attempted abortion is a Class C felony, which will get you between 1 and 10 years. But people are using that 99 years figure as if it's cemented to make the case that abortion doctors will now be prosecuted more harshly than the rapists who impregnate the 1% of abortion seekers that seek abortion because they were raped. But rape is also a Class A felony in Alabama, so if anything, the punishment is equal or sometimes greater or sometimes lesser. It fluctuates, depends on the judge, depends on the case. That's how felonies work. Sometimes you get a light sentence, sometimes a heavy one. So this talking point of how doctors will be unequivocally punished more than the rapists is just false when we're dealing with an equal spectrum of sentencing. That's what's weird to me, is that if you want to oppose this bill and denounce it and talk about how evil you think it is, you don't have to lie. You can just mention how there's no clause that provides exception for women who are the victims of rape and incest. Those women still cannot get an abortion in Alabama. There were about 6,000 abortions in Alabama in 2018, and statistically 1% of abortions are performed because the woman is a rape victim or incest incubator, which means the lack of an exemption clause in this area is going to affect about 60 women per year. Now you can say that any number is too many, but also you probably thought it was way higher than that. Abortions due to rape are extremely uncommon. There's about 6,000 of them nationwide per year in the US, and there's still 49 states that will perform that procedure. Here's some more facts. The governor of Alabama is a woman. This bill was sponsored by an equal number of men and women, though voted on and passed by a male majority. But let's not pretend abortion is a men versus women issue. Statistically, women are more pro-life than men. Simultaneously, women are more pro-choice than men. Women lead the charge on both sides of this debate. So to say that criminalizing abortion is the hand of misogyny slamming down on women's rights is just bogus. Your stance on the abortion issue has nothing to do with your gender and everything to do with your political and religious affiliations. Again, if you want to oppose this bill, you do not need to lie or obfuscate or incorrectly blame the wrong group of people. You can just view it as an enemy of your core values and argue your side of things without chronically misrepresenting both the opinions of your opposition and the identities of the opposition. Stop sensationalizing and just have an honest defense. One of the biggest things I struggle with on the pro-choice side of the debate is that their best defense, in my mind, the one that concerns victims of rape having to carry their rapist's child, only accounts for 1% of abortions, yet it's their absolute favorite thing to bring up time and again, and it makes me be like, yeah, okay, if I was in charge, I'd give you your 1% of abortions. Now what about the other 49.5 million abortions that have taken place since Roe v. Wade? Safe, legal, and rare my fucking ass, dude. Plainly, abortions aren't rare. There were 600,000 of them last year in the US alone, and 98% of those were just people who didn't want their babies. And that typically brings up the foster care argument, which is also full of unwanted children, assuredly. In fact, there's almost an equal number of unwanted alive children every year as there are unwanted dead fetuses. No matter what you do with them, some kids just don't have anybody to love them. A great way to alleviate this problem would be for young people to stop fucking each other without birth control or a condom, but reining in millennials' dopey sexual appetites is about as likely as finding a home for all the damaged and broken children they create. I love the gotcha that some liberals like to use against conservatives. The conservative will be like, abortion is wrong, and the liberal will be like, oh, you're pro-life? Go adopt a foster kid right now. Bet you won't. What kind of dumb shit? Hey, if you don't want that girl to have an abortion, why don't you just agree to raise her baby? Because from the conservative side of things, you can be against murder without having to raise everybody who doesn't end up murdered. At that point, the conservatives should flip the script and be like, oh, you're pro-illegal immigrant? Why don't you accept one into your house then? Of course they never do, and they shouldn't. And neither should the conservative with the baby. The solution to all of our problems is not to just accept any and all random-ass people into our family. It's not our responsibility. Your mistakes, as the soon-to-be parent of an unwanted child, are not my responsibility, they're yours. Own it. Raise your damn baby. If you don't want to raise a baby, use some damn contraception. I just read something that actually pisses me off, and it should for you too, or else you're truly depraved. I assumed that alcohol played the biggest role in unplanned pregnancies. Like people get drunk and they fuck and then oops, baby. But that's not the case. You know what's more to blame for unplanned pregnancies than alcohol? A lack of motivation to use contraception. People are just not doing it out of laziness. You deserve a pregnancy. You straight up do. You don't deserve a baby, but you deserve a full 9-month pregnancy complete with all the bells and whistles. Weight gain, saggy tits, morning sickness, Amy Schumer's hyperemesis, the works. Then when you finally birth that baby, it should be taken away from you and given to a pre-selected family who's been waiting for this moment for years, you lazy piece of shit. Can we all get on board regardless of political affiliation and say, fuck this bitch, please? And of course, the dude isn't blameless in this situation either. Ladies, if you are with someone who prefers the pull-out method, dump him right now. Why are you risking the rest of your life on this douchebag? He's obviously a complete moron, which doesn't reflect well on you for indulging him. Either use birth control, or use condoms, or use abstinence. If he can't compromise 20% of the pleasure he gets from sex because he won't use a condom, he's gonna be a shitty father. Conversely, if you're a woman and you want to enjoy all the sex you want all the time, but you can't make the minor bodily sacrifice required to be on birth control, you're not gonna fucking handle pregnancy well, and you'll be a shitty mother too. If the two of you can't arrive at a clear conclusion about this, you shouldn't be having sex. It's dangerous, and there are 3 lives on the line. 4 if it's twins. Ask me what I personally think of this particular bill, and I won't give you a clear answer because it's not black and white. I think it should have had the rape exception. If it had that, I'd be all aboard. I'm not pro-life. I'm just very not pro-choice because I think all the pro-choice arguments are either emotionally misguided or purposefully antagonistic, whereas the pro-life arguments are either morally selective or functionally unimplementable. Sounds like an alt-right slogan to me. I've tackled this topic time and time again, and I've never called myself pro-life, though in the earlier stream of consciousness days, I was definitely pro-choice due to a lack of any kind of conservative influence. It's amazing how much you can expand your horizons when you listen to an argument from the source, instead of what a late-night talk show host pretends it is. Abortion should be an exception, not the rule. There's your soundbite takeaway. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. And whatnot, you can follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino, and I will see you guys next time.